Imagine, builder, you stand before a structure you've been erecting for years. The final stone is almost in place, and now, a step away from completion, a shadow of doubt emerges. But the sky map speaks clearly. It's too late for doubt. Your legendary perseverance has already built this culmination, laying the foundation for a new reality. And in this solid ground, hard won by you, lies pure gold. Not a promise, but a fact you are about to embrace. This fact won't come to you as a quiet whisper in your ear. It will descend like long-awaited rain on parched earth, like a resonant, echoing blow that will course through your entire structure, from its foundation to its highest stone. This will be that cosmic impetus. For some, it will manifest as unexpected news, a call or a letter, that with a single stroke erases all doubts and clears the path to completion. For others, it will be an internal revelation, so powerful and clear it will feel physically tangible. You will suddenly see the entire picture, not as a collection of disparate walls and beams, but as a single living organism that has finally begun to breathe. In that moment, the shadow of doubt will not merely recede, it will burn to ash in the light of this sudden truth, leaving behind only crystalline clarity. Your years of labor, your unwavering faith in the material, in the blueprint, in your own hand, all of it was more than just work. It was an incantation. And now the universe speaks its reply. And here is my prophecy for you, builder. In one of the coming days, when light touches your creation at the right angle, you will receive tidings. Not what you calculated or logically expected, but something that changes the very rules of the game. It won't be just an offer or a contract, merely praise or recognition. It will be a key to the very treasure you, intuitively, sealed within the foundation of your work, trusting that one day the time would come to open it. This key might take the form of a person who sees something in your project no one else has, or a document that bestows upon your structure a status you never dared to dream of. Or it could be a financial flow that surges so swiftly it washes away the last grains of uncertainty. The sky map doesn't lie. Your perseverance didn't merely lead you to the finish line. It constructed it, carving the one true form out of a chaos of possibilities. Every day, when you gritted your teeth and continued laying bricks, despite fatigue and the disbelief of others, you added a new note of strength to this final chord. Every sleepless night spent over blueprints was a prayer directed to the future, and the future heard. What is about to happen is not a stroke of luck. It is a logical, mathematically precise outcome of the energy you invested. Your task now is not to seek confirmation, but to recognize it. To discern this cosmic impetus when it arrives, and not to mistake it for another test of endurance. This is not a test, this is a reward. The gold beneath your feet is not a metaphor for wealth, but a symbol of your true, undeniable worth, finally revealed to the world. And only one thing remains for you, to bend down and pick it up. But to bend down, you must first straighten your back. The very back you kept tensed for so long, anticipating a blow, a trick, or another trial. Remember, builder, how it was. Remember the months, perhaps years, when each dawn brought not hope, but merely a new item on your to-do list, and a new wall you had to hold up alone. You lived in defense mode for so long, in your personal trenched truth, that armor became a second skin, and a warrior's stance the only possible posture. You were a bastion, a rock against which waves of others' skepticism and indifference broke. You learned to listen to no one but the inner voice that urged, keep building. And that saved your project. But it is precisely in this salvation that the main trap now lies. Your legendary perseverance, your Taurian steadfastness. This is the very material from which both your triumph and your main inner enemy are cast. This stubbornness was a faithful guard at the gates of your construction site, warding off all who might interfere. But now, when the gates should swing open to admit your reward, the guard doesn't understand the new command. He continues to stand firm, protecting you from the very good you have earned. He has become a jailer. And here is the warning I must convey to you. Your greatest virtue risks becoming a curse just a step away from completion. You might reject that very key because it won't look as you imagined it. You might pass by a person with a crucial offer, because they don't speak the words you're accustomed to hearing. You might instinctively push away a financial flow because it comes from an unexpected source, and it will seem suspicious to you. Your task in the coming days is not to build or to defend. Your task is to learn to receive, to shed your armor, even if it feels like the battlefield is still all around you, to allow yourself vulnerability, to feel the warmth of this gold, not just its weight. The world is no longer hostile toward your creation, it is ready to applaud. But it will not break down the doors you've locked from within with your distrust and habit of struggle. Your main enemy now is not external doubts, but your own monumentality. The battle for the building is over, builder. Now begins the battle for the right to enter it and become its master, not a perpetual, unyielding guardian at its threshold. And this battle for the right to become master is the quietest and perhaps the most challenging of all you have waged. It is fought not with steel and stone, not with willpower or sleepless nights over blueprints. It is waged on the territory of feelings, trust, and allowance. And here you need a new ally, builder. Into this internal battle steps your true ruler, your guiding star, Venus. She has observed your every step, every brick laid, and now she emerges from the wings to impart her ultimate wisdom to you. Her voice is not a general's command, but the whisper of a gardener who knows when to stop digging and begin harvesting. Venus says, "You have gazed at the ground beneath your feet for so long, at the solidity of the soil, at the reliability of the foundation, that you have almost forgotten to look at the sky. You have listened to the creak of your own muscles for so long that you have forgotten how to hear the music your creation emits." Her wisdom is not in strength, but in value. Not in how much you invested, but in what precisely you have created. She teaches you the art not of building, but of owning. She asks you to shift your focus from the process to the result, from struggle to enjoyment. Look at your hands, builder. They are accustomed to weight, to calluses, to labor. Venus, however, asks you to feel with them not the roughness of stone, but the smoothness of the gold that already lies at your feet. This gold is not merely a metal. It is concentrated beauty, materialized harmony, an embodied dream. It is Venusian alchemy, which has transformed your stubbornness, your sweat, and your faith into pure, undeniable value. And to accept it, you must speak its language, the language of feelings, pleasure, and the appreciation of beauty. That very key that will come to you will not be just a tool for a lock. It will be elegant, beautiful, and you will want to hold it not because it is useful, but because it is perfect. That very financial flow will not be just numbers on an account. It will bring with it a sense of lightness, freedom, and the opportunity to finally adorn your building, not just reinforce its walls. Venus now gives you the main advice: stop being the foreman of your own construction site. Become an aesthete, a connoisseur, the first guest in your own palace. Allow yourself to walk through its halls, not with a tape measure, seeking flaws, but with a glass of wine, admiring the play of light. Your perseverance has already made the ground firm. It has already built the culmination. Now Venus's mission is to teach you to walk on this ground as if it were a garden, not a minefield. She is here to remind you the purpose of any great construction is not eternal building, but the life that will fill the created walls with meaning, warmth, and beauty. Your task is to let this life in, and this is how life will begin to seep through your impregnable walls, builder, in 3 distinct, tangible currents, each requiring not strength, but sensitivity from you. This is your practical guide to the Garden of Venus, which has grown on the solid ground of your labor. The first current is your work, your business, your project. That very building. Here, the gold will manifest in the most direct and tangible way, in the form of a contract that exceeds all expectations, an investment that comes out of nowhere, or a partnership offer that once seemed like fantasy. And here is your first test by Venus. Instinct will command you to immediately funnel these resources into strengthening the foundation, erecting new protective walls, preparing for the next winter. Your inner foreman will shout, "More concrete, thicker walls." But Venus whispers, "Buy marble, hang paintings, install a fountain in the lobby." Your practical step here is to consciously, almost forcefully, Direct a portion of this new material energy not towards security, but towards beauty. Buy yourself not a new tool, but a work of art. Invest not in insurance, but in something that brings you aesthetic pleasure. This will reprogram your brain from survival mode to prosperity mode. You must prove to yourself that the fortress was built not for siege, but for life. The second current will touch your heart, the sphere of relationships. You have been a warrior for so long that you accustomed yourself to seeing loved ones either as trenchmates or as those from whom you needed to protect your rear. Your armor blocked not only enemy arrows, but also the warmth of embraces. Now, with the battle over, you will find that people look at you differently. Those who once saw only an unyielding fighter in you will suddenly perceive a creator and a victor. And here lies the second trap. You might, out of habit, expect their help in battle, while they have come with congratulations to a feast. Your task is to change the tone of your communication. Stop talking about difficulties, about struggle, about how hard every stone was. Start talking about the beauty of your vision, about the view from the top floor, about your dreams. Practical advice: invite the most important person to you on a tour of your success. Don't ask for advice on how to reinforce a wall, but ask what color curtains would suit this place. Allow someone to share not your burden, but your triumph. This is an act of true trust that will transform your citadel into a cozy home. And the third, most subtle current will flood your inner world, your self-esteem. For years you defined yourself through your perseverance. I am the one who endures. I am the one who builds, no matter what. This identity was your core, but now that the culmination is built, it becomes a cage. You might stand in the middle of your palace and feel like an imposter, a mere worker mistakenly allowed into the master's chambers. This is the most insidious enemy, the inner builder's syndrome. It will whisper that you haven't earned rest, that a new construction, a new trial awaits around the corner. Your final battle is the battle for the right to call yourself the master. Here is your most important practical step. Create a ritual. Every day, upon waking, approach a mirror and speak aloud, not about your plans for the day, but about the accomplished fact. I built this. It is mine by right. I am the master here. Feel how your posture changes, how your shoulders, which have carried the weight of the world for so long, relax. You must claim this success not only in your bank account or in the eyes of others, but in every cell of your body. The gold beneath your feet will only become truly yours when you recognize yourself as gold. And this recognition will not come from the mirror builder, nor from your internal monologue. It will come from outside, but from where you least expect it. Not from a board of directors, not from an influential critic, and not from a wealthy investor. The source of this final truth will be someone you, in your perpetual readiness for battle, used to consider background, part of the scenery. It might be an old gardener who has silently observed your construction all these years, or a child who asks a simple, disarming question, who will live in this beautiful house? Or even a random passerby who stops and speaks, not of the strength of the walls, but of how your building catches the sunset light. This person will arrive without a contract in hand and without a business proposal. They will bring something far more valuable, an unclouded perspective. They don't know how many sleepless nights this masonry cost you. They haven't seen your calluses or heard your arguments with contractors. They see not the process, but the result. Not struggle, but harmony. And in their simple, sincere admiration, unburdened by knowledge of the cost, you will for the first time see your creation for what it truly is, a completed work of art. This person will become your living mirror, reflecting not a weary fighter, but an accomplished creator. And I see this unexpected guest extending something to you that you long considered lost or insignificant. This is your symbolic key, your family heirloom you had forgotten. It could be an old photograph of where it all began, an empty field full of promise, or that very first blueprint sketched on a napkin, naive and bold. Or perhaps it will be the very first stone you laid in the foundation. Do you remember it, builder? Unhewn, heavy, it was not part of a wall, but a vow you made to yourself. You could have cast it aside, forgotten it, but the universe preserved it. And now it is returned to you with the words, I think this is the heart of the whole building. Without it, it would not breathe. In that moment, you will understand, true gold is not a financial flow or status. True gold is faithfulness to the original vision, the purity of that first dream that gave you the strength to traverse this entire path. This stone in your hands will weigh more than all the contracts in the world, because it is material proof of your faith. To accept it means, finally, to accept your past not as a series of trials, but as a sacred act of creation. This simple, almost worthless object will become your greatest treasure, because it will return to you not the building, but yourself, the one who once dared to dream. And it is at this very moment that ownership will transfer from papers to your heart. You will become the master, not by law, but in essence. And when this right becomes your essence, your building, your triumph, will begin to live a life of its own. And it will demand a new level of mastery from you. Prepare yourself, builder, because in the middle of this period, the heavens are preparing a final test for you, which will arrive under the light of a full moon in Scorpio. This is not the gentle light of Venus. It is a powerful, penetrating spotlight beam that will illuminate the darkest corners and deepest cellars of your success. It will shed light on what you didn't want to see, that part of your creation that has always belonged not only to you. A full moon in Scorpio is always a culmination in matters of shared power, joint resources, and others' secrets. And here's what it will reveal within your golden success. In that very contract or financial flow, a condition will be discovered. Not a trap, not a deception, but a complex, integral part of your own vision that you have ignored until now. It could be a partner whose involvement now becomes crucial, or an obligation to family that you made long ago and forgot, but which is now woven into the very fabric of your triumph. Or a market demand that will force your ideal, completed building to change, adapt, and become something more than you planned. This is that pivotal event that will force you to change course. Your old course, the builder's instinct, tells you to dig in. It whispers, "This is mine. I built this alone, and I won't let anyone make their own edits. I'd rather give up some of the gold than full control." This instinct will see a usurper in a partner, bondage in an obligation, and a betrayal of the original idea in a market demand. And this will be the easiest, most familiar, and most destructive path. It will return you to the role of a gatekeeper, forever defending an empty fortress. The new course the universe demands of you is that of a ruler, not a builder. A ruler doesn't just own land, they manage an ecosystem. They know their strength lies not in the height of walls, but in the solidity of alliances. Your task is not to reject this complex condition, but to integrate it. Not to fight with a partner, but to sit at the negotiating table and forge one stronger vision from two different ones. Not to buy your way out of an old debt, but to honorably fulfill it, transforming the obligation into an act of nobility that will only strengthen your authority. Not to ignore the market, but to lead its changes, proving that your creation is not a dead monument, but a living, evolving organism. This is no longer about perseverance, it is about wisdom. You must prove that you can not only erect walls, but also build bridges. And it is this bridge built, not the tallest tower, that will become the main adornment of your palace and proof that you are the true master of your destiny. But to build this bridge, builder, you will have to sacrifice the most precious thing you possess. No, not gold or stone. You will have to sacrifice your main legend, the myth of the lone builder who single-handedly defied the world and triumphed. This myth warmed you on cold nights and served as a shield against doubt. But now it has become your main prison. The choice the full moon presents to you is not between two business strategies. It is a choice between two versions of yourself, who you are and who you are meant to become. Here it is, your main internal fear, brought to light by the relentless Scorpio spotlight, the fear of dilution. The fear that another's will, another's vision, another's money, is poison that will corrupt the purity of your design. You fear that by letting in a partner, you will betray your original dream. That by fulfilling an obligation, you will admit you are not all-powerful. That by adapting to the market, you will soil your work of art with dirty reality. In your mind, this looks like surrender. You see another's hand reaching for your perfect blueprint and making what you perceive as ugly revisions. And your entire visceral Taurian instinct screams, never. Better to burn it all to the ground than let this happen. And you have this path, the builder's path, taken to absurdity. You can engage in a battle for absolute control. You can try to buy out a partner, overwhelm them with money so they disappear from the horizon. You can grit your teeth and fulfill an old obligation, but with a face as if going to your execution, demonstratively showing everyone what an unbearable cross you bear. You can proudly ignore market demands, declaring that your genius is above the fray. And you might even win this battle. You will remain the sole owner. But do you know what will happen to your palace? It will become cold. The gold in your accounts will cease to warm you, turning into a heavy burden that needs guarding. Your building will become a perfect, lifeless monument to your stubbornness. The echo of your loneliness will roam its halls. You will defeat everyone, but remain alone with dead beauty, a perpetual guardian in your own mausoleum. But there is another path, the path of the ruler. It begins with one simple, yet incredibly difficult thought for you. Your creation has grown. It has become larger than you. It no longer belongs only to you, because its scale demands collaboration. That very partner you consider a usurper has actually brought the missing element, without which your palace is just a beautiful box. Perhaps they hold the keys to doors you never even suspected existed. That very obligation is not a chain, but roots that connect your success to the world of people, making it sustainable and meaningful. And the market's demand is not a compromise, but the pulse of life that offers your building the chance to evolve and become not just a home, but the center of an entire ecosystem. Your task is not to fight, but to recognize value. To sit at the negotiation table not as a duel, but as a creative council. Your strength now is not in saying no, but in finding a yes that will make the overall project even grander. This final test is one of generosity, on the ability to see that 1 + 1, in this case, equals not 2, but 11. A true ruler is not afraid to share power, because they know their real power lies in the wisdom that multiplies the common good. Your choice is between an empty treasury, guarded only by you, and a flourishing kingdom where you are a wise and respected king. And you extend your hand, not to seal a deal, but to open a door. In that very moment, when your palm meets another's, or when your pen signs a document that forever changes the rules of the game, you feel not loss, but a tectonic shift in the very core of your being. The legend of the lone builder, carved into the granite of your stubbornness, shatters into dust with a deafening crack. And from this dust, something new is born. You feel an invisible burden lift from your shoulders, the weight of every stone you lifted alone, the weight of every sleepless night, the weight of the entire world you carried. For the first time in years, you stand tall, and the air in your lungs becomes different. Light, vibrant, filled not with the dust of construction, but with the scent of a blooming garden. Here it is, true gold builder. It's not in bank transactions or the market capitalization of your project. True gold is the sound of others' laughter in the halls of your palace. It's the lively hum of voices in a meeting where an idea is born, one you alone would never have dared to conceive. It's the light burning in the windows of your building late at night, because now it buzzes not only with your life, but with others' lives, others' passions, others' dreams. You look at your creation and see it breathe. That partner you feared as an invader turns out to be a brilliant strategist who guides your ship into the open ocean, an ocean you could only dream of while standing on the shore. That obligation which seemed like bondage transforms into a bridge, connecting your secluded island to an entire continent of possibilities. And the market, which demanded change, becomes the wind filling your new sails. Your main transformation occurs not in status, but in identity. You cease to be the builder. You become the source. You are no longer the one who lays stone upon stone. You are the one who created a place of power that now attracts talent, ideas, and resources like a magnet. Your task shifts from controlling to inspiring. Your hands, accustomed to the weight of tools, learn the art of a conductor who doesn't play all the instruments themselves, but creates a symphony from their sounds. You begin to experience an unparalleled, almost divine pleasure, seeing how your original vision, your first pure dream, begins to grow, branch out, and bear fruit in the hands of others, becoming even more beautiful and grand. This is the wisdom of the ruler, to understand that true power is not in holding everything in your own hands, but in creating a system that thrives on its own, multiplying your will and your vision 100-fold. And here is the final chord, destined for you by the heavens. One day you will enter your building, now the center of an entire world, and stop in the middle of the main hall. You will see how the light plays on the marble you chose with your partner. You will hear the gurgle of the fountain your family persuaded you to install. You will smell the aroma of coffee from the small coffee shop you allowed to open in the lobby, yielding to market demands, and in that moment you will feel not a shred of regret for lost control. Instead, a wave of such overwhelming, all-encompassing pride will wash over you, a pride you have never experienced before. You will understand that you built not just a building, you built a future, you built an ecosystem, you built a legacy. And in this noise, in this movement, in this life, you will finally find what you have strived for your entire life, breaking through walls and doubts, not rest, but the deepest, most meaningful peace. You built your culmination, builder, and it turned out not to be the end of the journey, but the beginning of a true kingdom. The sky map did not lie. In the solid ground of your perseverance, there truly was gold. It simply turned out not to be metal, but the living, beating heart of a world you gifted not only to yourself, but to all who believed in your dream. Remember this state, ruler. Remember this sound, this light, this air. And when the shadow of doubt, out of old habit, tries to creep into your thoughts, silently utter a new vow, a new law of your world, your final hard-won truth. Place your hand on the heart of your kingdom and say, "My foundation is faithfulness to the dream. My walls are the wisdom of alliances. My throne is in the heart of the thriving world I have created." This is not an affirmation to be repeated until you believe it. It is a statement of fact, like the sky is blue and gold is heavy. It is the new physics of your reality, which you yourself designed and built. And now, as your world has found its laws and come to full life, you will notice something amazing. You will see that on the map of your new kingdom, which you have so long and meticulously charted, there are white spots, uncharted territories, but now they beckon not with danger, but with promise. And your heart will for the first time ask not, "How do I protect myself?" but "What lies beyond the horizon?" The builder's adventure is over. The era of the wise ruler's great discoveries begins.